Testing. Anything can happen. Yeah. Fitness, Quincy, Dreams, Movie, Envy.
You see, anything can happen.
DJ, Envy, Angela, Yee, Charmaine.
Almost.
That's funny. All right, so we got
the tofu scramble.
We got 55 minutes of recording time. 30 minutes into it, I'm gonna go make sure we give a plug for the radio station and everything. So then we'll hop right back into it after the 30. Okay, and then
let's get it.
Once we close it out, you're gonna give all your platforms where everybody can reach you at.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay.
Cash App and all that.
Cash App the whole nine. Come on.
Okay. Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Zelle.
That is so odd to me when people have a birthday and they say Cash App.
Right.
Oh, what?
Like,
people send money.
Are you my mama? Like,
people send their money.
All right. We ready? Yeah. The energy's right.
Yes.
I'm feeling the vibe in the room. All right.
We in the building.
All right. We're going in 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's going on, everybody? You're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM Oakland and streaming online at www.kgpc969.org. This is the Anything Can Happen show with Kenya Asa, Quezzy Dreams, and your man, Cat Fitness. Man, we have a legend in the building today.
Icon.
A legend, a local legend.
That makes me sound
world
Iconic.
Miss Kenya Asa, can you give them a proper introduction for our listeners out there today?
I certainly can. Hello, listeners. We have got Armand in the building, y'all.
Y'all know the voice out there.
Yes. Armand. So I'm really going to tell y'all, I'm giving y'all a light bio because he is going to talk a lot about what his experiences are. And so I'm just going to tell y'all a little bit about him. He's the founder of All Tied Up.
Oh, we're going to talk about that today.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. A nonprofit dedicated to the empowerment of underserved youth aged 13 to 21. I'm going to tell you a little bit about All Tied Up. It engages its participants by offering activities to develop social skills and competencies needed to be effective leaders, subsequently improving our communities. In short, our young men become better problem solvers and decision makers, which means they are less likely to be involved in destructive behavior.
Come on, better kings and queens out there, huh?
Okay, at All Tied Up, this is what Armand says in some of his social media stuff. We share a voice of belief and conviction that they can succeed.
Wow.
My continued goal, Armand says, is to create courageous and productive men in our communities, prepared for employment, entrepreneurship, and continued education. I can't wait to hear more about that. Can we all get a welcome?
Yes.
Please.
Come on, make some noise for the brother in the building today.
There's so much more to say, but I'm going to let him tell y'all a little bit more.
First of all, you guys got me turning burgundy up.
Hey,
I can never get used to that. But, this is my first radio interview in years, actually, 3 years.
Wow.
Ooh, you heard it here first.
Anything
Anything can
back.
happen.
It's retro.
Yeah, so this is exciting. I'm really happy about this. And you guys are awesome. Just from the time I've been in the studio, what you guys do,
It's infectious.
I can tell you guys are faking it.
Fake it until you make it.
Fake it until you make it. But no, seriously, what you guys are doing here, not only for radio and podcasts, for that world, but for the community of Oakland, is extremely important. And we need some uplift. We definitely need some uplift.
That's real.
Yes, we
so
do.
I want to say thank you, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. Now let's get it cracking.
Thank you.
I want to start it off. With my first question. Who was somebody that you looked up to when you was a young cat coming up in the game and really inspired you, or either took you under their wing and was like, put you on game? You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me tell you something. I have mentors of the mind, people who don't even know they were my mentors. And I always tell
Well, give them their flowers.
I'm gonna give them.
Right.
And these are individuals who, and I always tell the youth, you never know who's watching.
Yeah,
Because I was once that person that was watching someone who had no idea I was watching.
Yeah.
So I always say, try to lead by example.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's hard sometimes, but hey, try your best.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna tell you, And I actually started a little later, but I'm a product of KSOL, KDLX, obviously, and other platforms, K-Poo.
Okay.
And, you know, when Summer Jam came about in the early 90s, I went to my first Summer Jam, and KBL was just getting started.
Yeah.
And there was three individuals that I looked up to.
Drop the names.
I'm going to drop it. Sway.
Sway.
Legend.
Yes,
Legend in the
yes.
game.
Yep.
Renell.
Oh, yes.
Come on.
Yeah.
Davey D.
Man.
There's a
You
reason.
just aged yourself.
I sure did.
I
Sure
miss
did.
Renell. I miss
years.
Renell,
Yeah.
y'all.
Just a few
If you
years.
got a minute, I'm going to tell you a little story.
Yeah.
So the reason Sway, because he's so humble. Sway's been Sway. He's never changed.
Yeah.
He is who he is.
He's down to earth, brother.
And I love that. And he's always willing to help him. He uses his platform to lift up other individuals so they can have a platform.
Still.
So I was like, still.
Right.
Renell, her personality, her strength, her voice, her charisma. She's a strong Black woman. And I don't mean she don't need to just tell anybody that. It's apparent in her walk, in her attitude. You know, Davey D is community. He's so community based. He will always fight for the community.
Wow.
He's not even from Oakland, but he reps Oakland as if he was born and raised here.
Yeah,
but
Davey
he
D.
brings his East Coast flavor to Oakland.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I met Sway for the first time, I walked up to him. I said, "Hey, brother, I just want," he goes, "The voice."
The voice. What? The
I'm
voice.
like, I was like, hold on.
In person.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. He knew exactly who I was.
Yeah.
When I met Renell, she was actually a co-worker at KBLX with me. And before she even was on air at KBLX, she looked at me and she said, "You're going to be the next thing."
Wow.
What did you feel in that moment when you heard something from somebody that been in the game
it was
for so long?
Right.
emotional.
Wow.
And I'm a man.
Yeah.
But when I tell you it was emotional to where something inside me just, because people don't cry enough when they're happy. And I think that is
Tears of joy.
Tears of joy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt.
It resonated with you.
Wow.
Davey D, I was walking around the lake.
Yeah.
Lake Mary, doing my little 3.8.
Yeah.
3.8.
And Davey D was walking as well. And he's like, "What's up, brother? We just got to talking." We ended up walking the lake together.
Nice.
The sharing
And it was
game.
Sharing game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Little did I know
Yeah.
that I was going to share the stage with these individuals. Little did I know that
He was the next up.
right. And Sway was going to be, you know, part of all time.
Yeah.
Renell was going to be my radio mentor. Davey D was going to be my podcast mentor, saying, "You need to do a podcast. What you have, your platform, what you're doing is so explosive that you need to give it to the community. But don't forget who you are, and don't forget where you come from. Your city needs you."
Absolutely. Absolutely. And speaking of All Tied Up, just tell us a little bit about that, especially for our viewers who are watching us live. We're going to be listening to us on the broadcast. But tell us a little bit about your organization. How did y'all get started? What's the intention? Where y'all going?
Right. So, All Tied Up started back in 2016, August of 2016. And it came about, I was on the radio one night doing the Quiet Storm on 102.9 KBLX.
Still
You had to hit him with it one time.
We're going to talk about that. We're
So,
going to talk about that.
no, I was doing the Quiet Storm, and a young lady called. She says, "We're in need of backpacks. I represent Richmond High, and we are in need of backpacks. Our kids need backpacks. Our football players need backpacks." So I said, "All right, cool." You know, I had literally just interviewed an organization. Shout out to Oakland Natives. It's back.
Come on.
They were doing a backpack drive that I was a part of, and she said to me, "Can you say it on the radio right now? Can you tell people that the football players of Richmond High need backpacks?" And I said, I unfortunately, I cannot do that because of the radio politics.
Yeah.
You know. And she said to me, "Well, don't put your foot in your mouth if you can't keep your word." I'm like, "Well, hold on."
She called you out.
She
Now,
dropped
mind
this
you,
track.
I didn't
Dang.
really tell you where I was from. I just kind of said it. I am from East Oakland.
Hey.
East Oakland. East 14th and Sunshine Court. Sunshine Court is so small that if you pass it, you wouldn't know. So you got to be from deep east to understand where it is.
Shout out to Sunshine Court.
Yeah. So you know. So anyway, so that part I had to restrain from coming out. And I said to her, "What is your phone?" In a very authoritative voice. "What is your phone?" And she gave it to me. And the next day I called her, and I was in my closet at home. And I used to actually, fun fact, I used to be heavily involved in commercial real estate, to where I had to wear a suit every single day. Matter of fact, I sold $8,000 worth of Jordans so I could buy suits.
Wow.
I used to be an avid Jordan collector.
Oh, so
Wow.
you sold Jordan that you own.
Yeah, I own, so I can get
Serious
He owns
sneakerhead.
$8,000.
Serious.
So
So these no longer
Shout
serve
out
a
to
purpose.
Right, and this was through eBay. This wasn't even marketplace. This was before
Wow.
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
sell something
Oh,
like
good.
that. So this was eBay, and I bought suits and ties, and I became a tie connoisseur. So I traded the laces for ties, and I had 300 plus ties.
There we go.
And I'm in my closet. I'm back in radio, mind you. So I'm like, I got enough ties. Maybe I should get these out. So I told her, I said, how about this? How about I bring some ties to your football players? Because I'm pretty sure they're not getting dressed up when they go to away games, which was the standard when I was young.
Yeah,
Play
that was,
basketball.
you had to come
Right.
with the shirt and tie, and then you can
That's
wear your
right.
jersey over it if
That's
you
right.
like.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I-
That was the standard.
man.
So she was like, no, they're sagging the pants, they're bringing the hoodies over their heads. They're just not representing, and they wonder why people look at them crazy.
Right.
Oh, man.
I said, okay. So I'm going to come with some
Self-worth.
ties. Exactly. So I came with about 50 to 100 ties. And I said, I'm not going to just teach them how to tie a tie. I'm going to teach them the true meaning behind a tie. The tie represents respect yourself, respect your peers, your brothers, and respect women. Because being a man is one thing, but being a gentleman is everything.
Come on. Can you say that one more time for the
Yeah,
viewers?
one
Because
more
that's
time.
real game right there.
100%. Being a man is one thing. Being a gentleman is everything. And people always attach being a gentleman as a romantic gesture. No, being a gentleman is also being a gentleman to your fellow brothers.
Wow.
Don't just open doors physically. Open corporate doors for your brother.
Oh, man.
Great lane.
Oh,
Create-
man.
Yes.
Hot
create
topic.
entrepreneurial
That's right.
doors for your brother.
Yeah.
Teach them what you went to school for.
Yeah.
You know, we have an issue with giving back. Everybody says they give back, but sometimes giving back financially isn't enough. Give back what you went to school for.
Yeah. Intellectual property.
And also
Exactly.
reaching your hand out when to pull other people up with
That is
you.
correct.
Yeah.
That's
Let's
correct.
talk about that because obviously
Yes.
this is a very prevalent issue and it's existed since
That's right.
the dawn of, I want to say time, but really slavery. But
Right.
let's talk like, why do you think that is that some people, especially in the Black community, African American community, might hesitate to reach back and pull others up with them?
It's called grabs in the bread.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
ouch.
Speak on it.
My
It's
goodness.
called the programming of competition.
But what happens when you take, I heard this on an interview with Kanye. What happens when you take the crabs out of the barrel?
Shout out to Kanye.
I'm gonna tell you this: when you take the crabs out of the barrel, you then have an empty barrel.
Well, the barrel creates the destruction.
Right. But then with an empty barrel, fill that barrel with water so everybody can float to the top.
Oh man. And, you know,
Once it's that simple.
yeah, it reminds me of what Jay-Z said in one of his freestyles that, you know, crabs don't belong in the barrel in the first place. Like, of
Exactly.
course
They
they're
don't.
acting like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're going to fill a barrel up with something, so when crabs do fall in, fill it up with water
Exactly.
and constantly keep the
Overflow.
river flowing.
Exactly.
Stagnant water creates toxins and mosquitoes. And all that. Now, in order for us to thrive as a culture, that's a big word now, culture.
Yeah.
We have to duplicate where we come from, the Nile River,
Absolutely.
and we have to constantly flow.
Absolutely.
Constantly. We cannot be stagnant. And our community represents the Nile River and vice versa, and we have to keep that water going. So crabs thrive in water.
Sure.
Now we got to take out the bottom feeder mentality.
Yeah.
That's the problem. And we're not crabs.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about this. I know one of the themes of today's episode is, you know, what makes you happy? How do you find your happiness and maintain it? So let me ask you, brother, like what makes you happy?
What
And
defines your happiness?
What defines your happiness?
Yeah. Wow. Here we go. Loyalty.
Oh,
respect, peace, treating my woman right.
Mm.
And I would have to say there's a fifth one. It's tough because, you want to, it goes on for many moments, but you want to make sure that having that mental peace is so important, especially with Black men. We think finances is the way, but finances are only temporary.
Yeah.
And I say temporary because what's your peace after you're no longer here? And have you created peace for someone else? Your finances can sometimes disrupt somebody's lives because you know what happens when a Black person dies. Families fighting over the money, fighting over the estate. That's all we hear about.
Yeah.
But what have you provided? Have you provided traditions?
Mm-hmm.
Have you broken generational curses?
Yeah.
Have you created happiness for your grandkids, your kids, and all these things based on those traditions?
Mm-hmm.
Traditions that are non-toxic.
Yeah.
Because we follow a lot of toxic traditions.
It's funny you bring that up because I have 4 sons, right? My oldest is graduating high school. He's 17, and I got 15, 12, and 8. Yeah,
Wow.
blessing, right?
Right.
And I remember I was still in the old paradigm. And what I mean by that is still continuing to do things that I saw my father do that no longer served our family, right? When it came to health, just
Right.
overall life. Not saying that my father wasn't amazing, but I saw myself turning into my father at a certain point and telling my kids what they needed to do without leading by example.
Wow.
Right. And I felt myself contradicting. Like, you say something to your child and then you're like, wow, I needed to hear that for myself. Like that. Yeah.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Oh, yes.
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
Essentially. Right. And the moment that I started to make that shift for myself, right, I saw how much more value I was adding to the family. Right. It had to start with me.
That's right.
Right. It had to start with getting my health together. If I'm talking about being an entrepreneur, I needed to go out there and do it to show them. Right. All these steps. A lot of times, like you said, do as I tell you.
Right.
I don't have to lead by example. We don't have any accountability for ourselves at the end of the day. When do we start holding ourselves accountable? Right.
Interesting. Who holds us accountable, right? Especially being, because unfortunately a lot of Black men, Black boys grow up without fathers. Like how would you recommend, especially working with youth, right? Like how would you recommend somebody who might not have a father or positive male figures in their life? How would they seek out that accountability and allow themselves to be held to that standard?
Well, that's a fantastic question because I grew up with a single mother, and unfortunately, the stepdad version wasn't a great example for me. So I had to figure it out, and I looked at athletes, Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I looked at Thea from the Cosby Show because then we had images,
right?
Positive Black males.
Positive Black males.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted the Cosby family.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted the Family Matters.
Fresh Prince of LA.
Fresh Prince. Everybody
You know?
wanted to go to college
Yeah.
because of a different world, not just a college at HBCU.
Yeah.
So
That's
we
where
had
I was
images. There you
When
go.
when they were filming there, I was there.
There you go. Oh, there you go. See, fun fact. So we had images. We had magazines. Jet. Word Up. Ebony.
Yeah.
We had
You're taking it way back.
Essence.
Taking it way back.
And those things we were able to look at and say, oh, I want to do that. I want to do that. Beauty of the Week, page 28, Jet.
I
Yeah.
used
As
to
a
love
nurse.
Beauty of the Week.
Yeah.
Man. That was
Going
She
straight there.
was a lawyer. She was a lawyer, a judge.
Loved it.
Yeah.
So we had images to assist us in helping us identify that passion.
What happened?
Oh, it worked out for me just fine.
Oh no, I mean, what happened to those images?
So those images, we became greedy. We became selfish. we became extremely
Yes.
Interesting.
That's what happened.
Can I ask a question about? I'm sorry, Kat.
No, go right ahead.
So sometimes, and I'm just gonna say this with love. Sometimes we are on here and we will talk about kind of some of the things that are plight in the Black community, right? And one of the things we very frequently say, putting it out into the universe, and we're putting these words and that energy out into the universe and freeing it and giving it wings. When we say, so many Black boys do not grow up with fathers.
No excuse.
Okay, and so what I'm here to say is, yes, we absolutely know that there's plenty of
Right.
boys and girls that in our community
Right.
that do not have a father in the home, but there's plenty that do.
That's right.
And so when we talk about how to support the children in our community and the parents in our community and the fathers in our community, what I would like to hear more of, and I would love for you to speak on this, Armand, is supporting the fathers in our community. Because here's the thing, they didn't just poof up into midair and disappear and fly away into the ether.
Are you
No.
sure?
Well, I mean, yeah, somebody is getting us pregnant, okay?
That's right.
And so they're out there, and maybe they're not in the home,
That's right.
you know, and maybe they're not engaged. And so then instead of saying, just kind of blatantly, just kind of accepting, this is what's happening to a lot of boys in our community and they don't have fathers in the home. What can we do to support those fathers that are alive
Right.
and may
Great
not be in the home? Why aren't they in the home? And why aren't they engaged? Because they don't have to be in the home to be engaged.
Well, to tell you. First of all, shout out to Father Court.
Shout out to Father Court.
Yeah.
I think that's when we first met.
The Fatherhood Summit every year. Yeah. And they also do dad discussions as well. Dad discussions.
Yeah.
So shout out to them. So I'm gonna tell you what it is. So obviously you guys have heard of the Willie Lynch theory.
Oh yeah.
Wait, can you speak on that for those who don't know who are listening?
Basically, Willie Lynch created this letter that pretty much ended up being the roadmap to the demise of Black. Do your research, Google it.
Yeah.
It's actually happening right now with Black men and Black women. There's a civil war going on.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the weapon that's being used is the child.
Yeah. Creating division.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And I would say that a lot of people would say that about multiple communities.
100%.
You know, they would say that about multiple
Right.
communities.
But the fire is
Yeah.
with us. So I have to stay with
Yeah,
us on this
sure.
one. 'Cause I don't know other cultures.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this. Up until the Black woman and the Black man learn how to coexist despite our differences, we can't blame them.
Yeah.
We have enough power and enough people in power,
Resources.
enough research. That's why I said earlier, no excuse. We got to figure this out because a Black man needs a Black woman, and a Black woman needs a Black man. No ifs, ands, no buts about it. Period. And if we do not learn to come together, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, she's educated. Great. Don't hold her back. Don't throw that in my face.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
And I agree with that. Now I'm married to a white man, but I agree with every word you just said.
Nice white man.
Because not only that,
Well,
but
they figured out they needed a Black woman.
right, okay, yeah, and
They on
my
game.
and my father lives next door. Okay, my father lives next door to my house
There we
because
go.
I do need my Black men and my cousins
Right.
There
and
we
the people
go.
and my brother and the people and the Black men in my life.
It's something I want to throw out there right now.
Throw
I've talked to women about this because, you know, a majority of my clients, 80% women, women of color, it's like, okay, once you get to a certain status, right, in life, it seems like the Black woman has to find somebody of equal stature, right? But what if that's not where your mate is in life at that particular point.
I agree with I hear what
Relationship
Kat is
coach.
saying. Well,
I'm
because
just saying,
right,
you know what I'm
okay.
saying? It's like,
I do a lot of relationship coaching and love coaching, and what I fully agree with that, and I think there's a lot of push in the community to and with our images and the Real Housewives and the this, that, and the other, because I'll talk about them all day.
Images.
This is just
Programming.
nonsense, and it is programming, and it's setting women up to think that they can't. Their man has to be up here financially, and if they're not up here financially,
they're not worthy.
what if your man? They are not worthy. And I have this conversation with a lot of women. And what if you're a lawyer and you have met a wonderful man and he's a janitor, or he works at McDonald's, or something like that, gainfully employed, works at the Safeway. Okay. Now, my best friend married a man that she met working he was bagging her groceries at Safeway, and he treated her like a queen until he passed away.
Wow.
And they met and got married 2 months later.
Wow.
And so it is not necessarily another lawyer or a doctor or a judge or whatever that's going to treat you like a queen. It might be. There's nothing wrong with those men either.
You heard it here
But
first.
it could be the dude that is bagging your groceries at the local Safeway. Rest in peace, Felipe. It could be that guy.
Wow.
And if you don't
And you losing out.
Oh,
You
come
losing
in,
out
come in, Armand.
because you sitting up here thinking you need to have this guy and that guy and the other. Come on now.
Right.
Come on
I'm
now.
gonna say this: a lot of people are impatient when it comes to passion.
Ooh, ouch. Ah.
They are so impatient, and they see the red flags, and a lot of times the red flags are disguised as red roses or red panties.
Huh.
Red penny.
Word. Word.
So I always say, be patient when it comes to your marriage. Be patient,
That's right.
and
Can
when
you elaborate on that real quick? What you mean? Oh, he's going
I am like,
It's coming.
It's the voice.
Coming.
It's the voice.
So speaking of the voice, and if you don't mind, I'll do a shameless plug. I'm part of a wonderful show. It's called The Lady in the Voice. And
Hey.
it's a show that is a reflection of our relationship with my forever.
Good show too.
And she was married for 23 years. I was married for 18.
Not to
Have
each other,
kids,
right?
Not to each other. And I say that with blessing, because I wasn't ready for her 5 years. There was no way I was prepared for her 5 years.
You were learning your boundaries through the
Thank you.
process.
I was learning.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I thank everybody who came before her, who prepared me for her.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell her that every single time.
Gratitude.
And the thing is, we're not only we have more than a relationship passionate wise. We have a business relationship. She also was my manager.
She currently?
Currently.
Wow.
Yes.
And
Everything
how does that
before,
work?
It works because I had to learn to let go. And I can't do everything
Black
by
man.
myself. And I have to trust her role in this relationship.
Oh, that's an
And it's
involved
not
statement.
based on gender. It's based
Right,
on
sure.
skill set.
But let me ask
The
you a
partnership.
question that
Right, a
I
real
am
partnership.
asking this for a lot of the ladies
A
out there.
lot of the ladies.
Go ahead.
Okay, because this is a conversation that we women have a lot about men
Let us in.
and their readiness.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready?
So I want you to hear what I'm asking you right now,
Go ahead.
sir. What had to happen for you to get ready?
Okay.
Because I know women, I had a conversation last night, y'all. I met this man. He likes me, I like him. But quote unquote, he says he's not ready for a relationship. So what had to happen for you to know you were getting ready?
Well, let me tell you something.
Oh,
I'm just
tell
going to
us.
say this straight up. So whoever that man was and whoever that woman was, basically what that man was telling that woman is, you're not the one.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
just being
Good.
you
Thank
want the
you.
real
Okay,
answer.
it came
I
out
do
of the
want the
left.
real
Because
answer.
we are, well, I'm telling you, we are punks. And
Uh-huh.
that's where a lot of men get in trouble because we don't know how to be honest to our women.
Mhm.
And I told my lady, I said, I've never been as honest with a woman in my entire life until I met you.
Mhm.
And that's how I knew I was ready.
Okay, So I want to break that down a little bit.
Break
You're
it down.
doing a
Break
it
service.
down.
You're doing a service for the ladies out here.
Break it
So
down.
you met her, and you didn't fall for her immediately the moment you saw her, or did you?
Let me tell you something. There's a difference between soulmates and twin flames.
Oh, I know. I love the twin flames. Yes.
She is my twin flame.
Yes.
Because soulmates don't have to be someone you're in love with. It
No.
can be a boy. it can
That's
be
right.
somebody,
That's
but
right.
she is my
Somebody
twin
here to teach
flame.
you
Sure. My best friend was my soulmate.
I was gonna meet her no matter what.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Right. Yes.
Mhm.
Period.
Had to learn the lesson.
And I am going to say this: God will provide you when God feels you're ready.
Wow.
So therefore, I was ready. I just had to make sure I knew that, and she knew that. So we talked about everything in time, obviously, not all at once. That's too much.
Right.
But we talked about our traumas,
Mm-hmm.
whether it was childhood traumas, our political beliefs, our religious beliefs, our financial beliefs.
And you did all this talking before you were in a relationship. Were y'all friends?
We
or-
were friends,
Okay.
best friends.
Okay.
But those conversations still had to happen
That's right.
eventually.
I want to have
So-
to hop in real quick. Y'all.
Up in.
We're going to get this conversation right back on air. You're listening to KGBC 96.9 FM Oakland, streaming online at www.kgbc969.org. And this is the Anything Can Happen show with Kenya, Asa, Kwesi Dreams, and your man Cat Fitness. We're talking the real right now.
The real.
The real
With the voice.
With the voice.
Because that was truly a gem that you just dropped right
Yeah.
there. And we are always looking for gems like that, because that is something that we are frequently having conversations
Can I
about.
give you
Yeah.
another,
Yes,
can I give you
please,
another one? So you
please.
asked me, how did I know I was ready? So I'm going to tell you this. I said to myself, there's a time in a man's life. Isn't that a song?
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
there's a
good
time
addition.
when in a man's life where he just, all the BS got to stop. And it's normally, I always say, a man should never get married until he's in his 40s.
Mm.
Wow.
For like
Wow.
4-0?
Because Kwesi's like, wait a minute now.
Anything prior
You
to
have
that,
kids at 45?
let me tell you something. That's the pressure. See, that's another topic.
Mm.
Our clock is different.
It sure is. I had a baby at
Oh, so we
42
should be
though.
marrying younger
If you-
women.
My first at
Wait, we got to
42.
hear it from the voice. So you
Right.
saying we should be marrying younger
No,
women?
nobody
But-
said that.
Nobody said
said
that, Kevin
Their clock is
Samuels,
different.
okay?
Kwesi said,
Oh, you a high value man. Okay.
Value
high
man.
net worth man.
So our clock, we don't really fully mature mentally until we're in the 40s.
4-0? So you saying Cat Fitness over there looking buff is I don't know
How
what.
old are you, brother?
He ain't mentally
38.
38. He's getting there.
He's
There's
Get him.
he's
Getting
getting there.
seasoned.
No, no,
He's
I
getting
mean,
seasoned.
he knows
still
exactly-
I got a little
Hot.
salt and pepper.
He
He's
knows
still in the
exactly
spot.
what I'm talking about.
Salt and pepper.
Because that means you're done dating.
Yeah.
You're done cheating.
You know what you want in life.
You are unapologetically who you are.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't like it, they can kick rocks. I don't care how much TNA you have. I
That's
don't care
right.
how good you are in bed. I don't care. Are you participating in my peace?
Yeah.
Are you
growing together?
are you trying to fix me, or are you trying to stay around while I'm fixing myself?
But can't you be that and have that when you're like a young brother like Kwesi,
Figuring
who's
it out.
happily
No.
married?
Who's
see,
your
still-
brother?
You are a young
Who's your
brother.
brother?
You.
He's still figuring it out. He's still
like
figuring.
45.
He is
Whatever.
still, he is still figuring it out. And I'm gonna tell you this. So is the brother over here as well. You're still figuring it out.
But they have their queens by their side though.
Correct. And they're not trying to change them.
Right.
They're not trying to fix them.
No.
They're loving them while they are learning how to fix themselves.
Exactly.
And when you are in your 40s, you almost become, you're on autopilot at a certain
Wow.
Yeah.
And is that a good
Yeah.
thing?
That is
Because
a
we know plenty of
fantastic
men in their 40s who aren't really 40.
Good
right.
point.
You
Good
are 100% right. So I say this. It has nothing to do with age. It has all to do with experience.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And maturity
And up
And
until
wanting
you
to elevate.
right.
and values.
Right. And there's some things you have to experience.
Wow.
You
Okay.
have- because if
Okay.
you don't experience it now, you're gonna pick the wrong time to experience it later.
Oh,
Okay, I like where this is going. I like
preaching.
so.
You
I
preaching.
want to pull a Kenya real quick and speak on behalf of the male congregation
Okay.
because I've also had conversations with the men's, as Kenya has spoken to the women's, and I'm from the men's. I've heard that there's a fear of being honest with their partners, with their
100%.
spouses, right? So can you speak on that a little bit? Like it's not
100%.
just men are afraid or men don't want to be honest. There's a legitimate fear behind that.
And
And
it's
how-
all. Go ahead.
No, how would you suggest that the male congregation address that with their spouses and their partners?
Okay, so you got to be able to have the tough conversations, but you also have to know how to communicate
Ooh.
and send that message.
So that
Because
the
sometimes
men
it's-
need to know how to communicate.
Right. It's not the messenger, it's how you are presenting the message.
Ooh, yes, I say that
And it
all the
can't
time.
come in the form of yelling. It can't come in the form of
Amen.
your tone being daddy, meaning you're talking down to that person.
Amen.
And that's something I'm working on. I get in trouble at least once a week because of my tone.
Right. It's not, and I have said this to my husband. Shout out to my hubby.
Shout out.
But I've said that before. It is not what you say. Okay, because he could be like, I'm right. I don't care. I don't care. It's
Right.
not what you say or your
Right.
rightness. It's how
Right.
you say it.
But also, too, let me go back. Women, you have to be a little bit more accountable for your actions.
That's a curse word.
Because
That's a curse word.
accountability is key. If I'm always
He's right.
apologizing,
Right.
and you're like, I don't think I did anything wrong.
Oh no, you're absolutely
Yeah.
right.
This man
And-
been in a
and-
relationship.
You're
Right,
absolutely
right.
right.
So-
Because sometimes I just want the issue to go away. And so even if I know I'm right, is it more important to be right and for everybody to acknowledge my rightness? No, that's not that important. What I want to do is get on with my day and end this conversation.
That's right.
So I'll be like, I hadn't thought of it that way. Yes, you are absolutely right. Knowing it, he ain't, but I'll be like, you're right.
But
You
is
are
that
right.
fair to him?
Yes, you know why?
No.
I think it is.
That's
I
true.
think it is. No, I don't think so. Because I might come back later on, and this has happened many times. I'll think about it later and I'll be like, dang.
But did you say that to him?
Yes, you have to humble yourself. You have to come back to the conversation later and be like, you know what? I was thinking about what you said, and I hate to even admit it.
Why you got to say it like
Yeah.
that? Though?
Well, but
Why
some-
do you have
no,
to say I hate to admit it?
because sometimes that's real. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes you can be sitting up here like, and it's okay to share that you're
So if a
feeling
man
like
said
that.
that to you, if your husband said,
Yeah.
I hate to admit it,
Yeah.
you
They
are
lose their
going to
mind.
receive that.
Right.
a lot
You
of
hate.
Right.
You
What
hate.
do you mean
Sometimes-
you
no,
hate to
It's
admit it?
New
well,
argument.
because sometimes your ego gets in the way, and it's okay
Women
to
got
acknowledge
egos?
that your ego
No,
gets
they
in the
got
way.
emo.
We all have egos.
Can you hold it down for the
We
female
all. I'm saying
congregation?
we all
Well,
have egos.
Well, brothers, we about to form Voltron.
Hey,
No
I'm
way.
not-
On this
no,
God's
no,
green planet. What in the helicopter is going on?
I'm just saying, because if you are able to come to it, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to
That's
come
right.
to every
That's right.
conversation
That's right.
and have it be perfect. Sometimes
Right.
you can come in your realness
Right.
and be like, this is hard for me. This
Right.
is hard for me to say these things out loud, but I'm going to be vulnerable because you're my partner. And I'm going
Wow.
to say
Yeah.
that it's hard.
And I think taking a
See?
communication class should be a prerequisite before you get married,
Ooh,
because I
that's
think communication, and not just communication, comprehension.
Oh, Lord, you said it right there.
Communication and comprehension. Those classes need to be taught, because you can communicate all day with me, but if I'm not comprehending what you're saying, I'm
Yeah.
going to
Might as well
continuously
be talking to this wall.
repeat those behaviors.
Yeah.
And do you think that the fact that men and women, and I'm not going to say the fact, I'm going to say, ask you your opinion on this, men and women communicating so differently, or even being socialized to communicate so differently. I remember back in the early 2000s, somebody wrote a book called Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
Oh, good. book.
Okay.
Good book.
So do you think that comes into play, the different levels, the different types of communication?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
gotta think about it. I feel like men are more blatant. When we say something,
We say what we mean.
we say what we mean, but a woman tends to want to look
She
deeper
says she
into those words. Like, hold on.
Right.
It can't be that
It
easy.
can't
be
say it
that.
that way.
Yeah.
It can't
Like,
be.
yeah.
Here's what you
So
really
how was your
mean.
day?
Yeah,
It's cool.
It's cool.
How
It
was
was
your
only-
day? Oh my gosh, Cheryl.
Oh,
made me
God.
upset.
Oh,
But
God.
she's telling the truth about her day. If he says it was cool, what does that mean?
I lived. I survived the day.
Now move, you're in front of the TV.
True. So that's what I mean by the differences,
Right.
because women do want to talk about their feelings,
Right.
but some men, they may have feelings.
Yeah.
And they want to say, oh, it was cool, because they don't really want to talk about how hard the boss was on them that day. But they don't want to talk about it.
Let me tell you why.
Uh-oh.
And again, we have to break a lot of these generational curses.
Mm.
Here's an example. Shut up before I give you something to cry for.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how we all heard that. There was no
Yeah.
class for black parents, and
Yeah.
all black
Right.
parents were like,
Shut
come on.
up before I can give you something to cry for. So you mean to tell me I can't express my feelings?
Right.
If I say anything else, is considered talking back.
Mhm.
So I have I have 3 kids, a 20-year-old daughter and 2 20-year-old. I mean, I'm 20-year-old.
You got it.
10-year-old twins,
10-year-old.
boy and girl.
Okay.
I give them a safe space to communicate.
Right.
And I want to know how they're feeling.
Yeah.
Because if they feel what I'm doing is unfair, meaning a punishment, I put down a disciplinary action. I do ask, so do you think the punishment fixed the crime?
Mm.
And they say yes or no. And if they say no, well, let's talk about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's have
Let's
an
talk about
understanding.
it. Let's have this understanding.
Wow.
You know, I yelled at my kids the other day, and I apologized,
Wow.
and they appreciated that.
Yeah.
You're still going to be punished, but I shouldn't have done that to you.
Yeah.
It was unnecessary.
I'll do it too. I apologize
Right.
to my son
Right.
is 12, and I will apologize too.
So those traditions, you have no idea how important that is,
Yeah.
Right.
and especially with our daughters,
Mhm.
our sons, because they watch every. You think they're not watching because they're on Roblox. No, they're paying attention to your
Every
single
move.
Oh, yeah.
They hear everything you
You know,
say.
I was gonna say, you know what's so interesting? My oldest two, right? I was in a different space. I was a kid raising kids, right? When I had my oldest two, and I spanked my oldest two, right? If they didn't do what needed to be done, they got a whooping, right? And it wasn't until my second oldest, I was about to discipline him, and I disciplined him, but later on, I went to go show affection to him, to put my hand out to him, and he flinched.
See.
He flinched, and that messed me up. That messed
See?
me up as a person.
Mhm.
See.
It hurt me to see when I was going to go show him affection that he kind of flinched.
We're still doing that as
Yeah.
black men.
Oh,
Exactly.
yes.
So my youngest two, I didn't discipline them in that way. I was like, no, this is wrong.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I have to be able to, as a man, I have to be able to express myself and communicate
Right.
and to get my point across without having to just say, okay, you didn't do what I say, now it's time for a whooping. Or you did this, it's time for a whooping. And it changed my whole outlook on
Yes.
parenting
Yes.
as a man. It was
Yes.
like, wow.
And
They
it's
almost
also
felt like the
changing-
slave master.
It's also
You know what I'm
changing
saying?
Go.
how they see
There
you.
go.
It's
Exactly.
going to change how your
Yeah.
children
Yeah.
see you, and then also how they relate to their own children. You
Exactly.
learning that
Right.
and you understanding the impact that had not only on yourself, because you could feel that was painful,
Yeah.
but on them, that's going to go all the way down
Yeah.
through the generations.
And one thing I'm gonna say is I'm gonna say 2 things. Your children should never fear you.
Yeah.
When dad comes home, it shouldn't be like, oh, shoot, dad's home.
Yeah.
It should be like, dad's home.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, the dog shouldn't be the only one to greet you.
Oh my God, that's
know
my
what?
house.
You
That's
know
my
what I'm
house.
saying?
Exactly.
And the mama getting all the attention. You know, I want to hug too.
Yeah.
You know, because I hug my kids every single day.
Yeah.
I kiss them every single day.
Yeah.
And I ask my son, when I kiss you, does that feel uncomfortable? He goes, no.
Wow.
Because I want him to know affection. I want him to know hugging is okay.
Yeah.
Because there's this thing called toxic masculinity.
Mm.
And I said, no, there's just toxic people.
Mm.
It's not gender specific.
Absolutely. That's so true.
It's
That's
not
so
gender
true.
specific.
You
Because
heard
if
it
you
here
look back,
first.
if you look back, a lot of these men got mama issues.
Oh,
They got
for sure.
daddy issues.
For sure.
So don't blame that man because he's been taught the wrong way.
Yeah.
He's seen images that were not right. It's not toxic. He just doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Society
So-
supports that.
Right. And let's
On every
unlearn it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
right now, with All Tied Up, we teach confidence. We teach respect. We teach the basics of being just a good human. Okay? And underserved has nothing to do with finances. There are people, there are young men out there who are just underserved.
And emotionally.
And emotionally.
And spiritually.
And spiritually.
Yes.
And all the other leads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's where we have to start. Yeah. Because I tell them this, we're going to prepare you for your opportunity. The only difference for all my athletes, my young athletes, the only difference between you and LeBron at that age was LeBron was prepared for his opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You're not
going to walk into his greatness.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. If I give you $1 million right now, you wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, you blow it and start
Most
off.
of us don't.
Right.
Grown people don't.
Yeah. Exactly. But you give me $1 million right
we
now.
Invested.
I know that's right.
That's good.
You know,
That's good.
I know that's
you
right.
invested.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, and follow the process. Stop taking shortcuts.
Yeah.
Our whole lives are based on these apps. Apps are shortcuts, but life is not an app. You take a shortcut, your life will be cut short.
Wow.
How do you
Tweet
do
that.
this in school?
I
No,
just thought
I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I just said?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you take a shortcut, your life can be cut short.
Bars.
That's right. Bars.
If
Bars.
somebody don't create a meme.
Man.
I want to know how you get this message to the youth. Are you in schools?
Yes.
Do you have an okay?
Yes.
Tell us how you link up with these youth.
So in the beginning, I was doing it all by myself, and I was at schools every day, and it was right. I was writing myself out because I'm also an empath. I didn't even know this until I met my.
Wow.
I didn't even know what an empath was. What's that?
Wow.
Yeah.
So I was taking on
All the energy.
Yeah. And it was draining. Yeah. And I would have to go on the radio, and sometimes the show wasn't really where it should have been because I was taking all these emotions from these underserved young people. So I needed help because I became more popular as I became more popular on the radio. All Tied Up also became more popular because I was doing radio interviews about it. And I was like, I need help. Yeah. But I had to be in a position mentally to say, I need help.
Had to be vulnerable.
I had to be vulnerable. Yeah. And people came in and they helped me tremendously. And go ahead.
I was going to say, how did you bridge the gap from, the generational gap working with these kids and where you're at?
Right.
How did you bridge that gap?
Well, in regards to what she asked and what you're asking, being in the schools at 40-something plus years old, these kids are 13 and 20. They're looking at OG like you
exactly.
are.
OG.
Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say.
So that was one of the obstacles I had to overcome, challenges I should say, and it was simple: bring in somebody who looks like them, their age. So create instead of being a leader. True leaders create other leaders.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I create other leaders that are a reflection of them. Period.
Yeah.
And then the light came on because I was using like celebrities and all this stuff to come in. Half of these kids don't even care. Their celebrity is an influence on social media or somebody we never even heard of.
Yeah.
Listen, a lot of times a celebrity is just the king of the school.
Yeah.
Who just happens to be a leader.
Yeah.
He may have behavior.
The alpha.
Right, the alpha.
The
You have
alpha.
to bring in an alpha. And once you bring in the alpha, will control the room because he's respected on campus.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Politics.
Politics.
Street politics.
There you go. And that's the approach I had to take. So actually, I look forward to seeing who's the class clown.
Yeah.
Because normally the class clown
Getting all the attention.
Yes.
All the
Sure.
And
attention.
they know
all
how
the
to get
girls.
the attention. And
Yeah.
if you empower them with your superpower, boom, there you go.
That's
Because-
amazing.
Yeah, it's
So you gave him the game so he can give his peers the game.
exactly.
Yeah.
And people love giving game.
Yeah.
People hate. We are not a culture of keeping secrets. That came from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because they kept secrets from us, so we felt we gotta keep them. No,
Yeah.
we love to share,
Yeah.
and we do it through music. We do it through poetry. We do it through dance. We
Yes.
do it through yoga, spiritual healing.
Storytelling.
We are a spiritual culture.
Yeah.
We don't storytelling. We don't like keeping secrets.
Yeah.
especially women can't keep secrets at all.
Come on now. Listen.
You
But
just had
they
to
are
call that
the
one
first.
up.
I take
But-
Breaking
offense. I take offense to
Breaking
that
news.
truth. I take offense
But
to
they
that
are
truth.
matriarchs. And if you have to respect the matriarch, the woman is the centerpiece for everything. When you go to a table, the first thing you look at is the centerpiece.
Mhm.
When you walk into a room, the first thing you do is look at the centerpiece. The centerpiece in every home is the woman. The man is the legs of the table. We keep the centerpiece at this, or we need each other. There can't be a centerpiece if there ain't no table to put the centerpiece on.
Exactly.
Uh-oh.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
good.
That's true. That's right.
That's good.
Amen
know,
to that.
You know, so I truly believe in, making sure that these young men learn who they are and find the centerpiece within themselves.
Yeah.
Because
That's
you
good.
can't change anyone, but you can help them evolve.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You can
A
show
A,
them a
a caterpillar is going to be a butterfly. It ain't going to grow up to be a centipede. It ain't going to grow up to be it's going to be a butterfly, but you need to nurture it so it can become that butterfly.
It's got to survive
It got
to be
Yeah.
a butterfly. It's got to survive.
So what would 40-plus-year-old Armand tell 25-year-old Armand?
I'm going to tell you this. Each and every one of us has a spiritual man.
Mhm.
Mine is my 7-year-old. 7-year-old. That's my spiritual man. Me and 7-year-old Armand. And what I would say to my 7-year-old, if you don't mind, Armand, be patient. It's coming. Be patient.
Yeah.
Just
You don't have to
be
rush it.
patient.
You don't have to rush
It's
the process. Yeah.
God got you. I've been blessed all my life.
Mm.
I am a true walking example of speaking things into existence.
Being at the right place at the right time.
That whole thing, I don't want to say because it's going to jinx it.
Yeah.
No, I'm
No,
saying
that's
it
nonsense.
Because it's gonna
because
happen.
if it comes through multiple mouths, God will hear it louder.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's the universe having your
That's
back.
right.
Because
Yeah.
when you speak that energy into existence, I had a
Man.
conversation with my child about this the other day, about speaking negativity. And I said, if you're saying that, then the universe heard you, and that's what the universe will
That's
provide for you.
That's right.
But I think what's even more powerful, you being able to listen to 7-year-old Armand when he's leading you, when he's telling you to go over there, talk to that person, or
Yes.
be at this place at a certain time. You know what I'm saying? Feeling those vibes.
Right.
And a lot of time, we all have it,
There you
but we're
go.
not obedient to it.
No.
We're not obedient to
That's right.
hearing it and getting guided to that next step in our journey. And when we're not obedient, that's when the blessings are not there for us.
Yes. I got something for you.
Yeah.
Your 7-year-old self is right in front of you. You realize it. Because it's your kids.
Yeah.
If you take the time to listen to your kids, you will learn a lot.
Yeah.
I sure do.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a part. That's your DNA
Mhm.
living through someone else's body.
Yeah.
Why not? Why wouldn't you want to listen?
Yeah.
You
And
know?
what would, as a father, what have you learned from your kids?
Oh,
If you could, like, just narrow it down.
That's a
Man,
whole
maybe-
nother
maybe the
episode.
short
We only got a
So
couple
much.
minutes left.
patience. That's it.
Yeah. Trust the process.
So
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Yes. Lord.
You know, even with my kids, watching them and not understanding why. Like, I throw a quick example, right? My son, freshman year, played football for his high school. We saw opportunity. We saw how great he was, right? We were like, okay, let's take him to the next level. Let's get him to one of the top schools around. So we looked at like a De La Salle. Like, what is it going to take for him to get there, right? We showed it to him, and he was like, no, I need to be here, right? I need to be here, Dad. I'm like, well, we can get you there. Like, why do you want to be here?
Right.
They don't have the same kind of coaching, same opportunities. It's like, no, I need to be here. I was like, I trust
There you
this,
go.
right? So sophomore year, losing season. Junior year, losing season. Senior season, they're in the playoffs, right? And I saw it. It wasn't until now I can see what he saw,
That's
right?
right.
He had to be able to uplift those around him, right? He didn't want to take the shortcut. He wanted to show
Yeah.
himself how powerful he was, how he can take a losing team to a playoff
That's
team.
right.
was he aware of that? Was he cognizant of that, or was that just a feeling?
I think it was a feeling within him.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
And instead of being a parent and telling him, no, you need to be here, I allowed that process to happen.
Because it's so hard not to control them.
Exactly.
Right. And I'm going to say this. If you pay attention, they will lead you to their passion.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
allow
such a
them that
huge
space.
thing.
And allow them that space.
My goodness.
That's it.
That is, could you please repeat that? Because that's some of the most important information ever.
If you pay attention, they will lead you to their passion.
Wow.
Just stay patient. That's it.
Yes.
You heard it here first on Anything Can Happen.
Come on.
Trust
Net-
you.
Bar after bar with Mr. Armand.
So, as we come to a close, brother, I mean, where can people find you? How can they support All Tied Up organization? What do you have coming next that we can look forward to?
Goodness.
Talk to the people.
Yeah, so All Tied Up. Thank you to my executive director, who is actually now starting a girls version. My lady, she's starting a girls version, which I told her.
We need her
She
in the
didn't believe
studio.
it. Oh, she's
Yeah.
coming.
Oh,
True. And you can find us at All Tied Up _ Bay Area on Instagram, All Tied Up on Facebook, and www.alltiedup.org. Don't go to .com, please, Jesus. Go to .org on that's our website, and you can see that's what happens when you go to .com. But honestly, the support is always needed. Monetary support, ties gently worn, new would be preferred. We also need mentors, volunteers. We need resources. And go take a look at the website so you can see the 4 different workshops we offer. And we definitely, this is what we do, period. I haven't been at KBLX since 2019.
We didn't even talk about that at all.
People don't even know that.
I didn't know that.
Because of the brand that I've built for myself. They associate me with that.
It's the voice.
That right.
Come on.
And we need to also do that for the youth. No matter what platform they're on, they will make a name for themselves. So if they detach from that platform, they're still able to move on.
They can have the freedom that they need.
There you go. Freedom. It's not the environment geographically, it's the environment mentally.
Yes.
That's where the power lies.
All right, we got it in there. Too many bars.
You want to close us out today, Brother Quezzy?
Oh, absolutely. So thank you for joining another classic episode of the Anything Can Happen show with today's special guest, Armand Carr, aka It's the Voice. Follow us at ach.show on Instagram. That's at applecharliehenry.show on Instagram. Tune in. We're live every single Thursday at noon. Tune into us on Instagram Live, and you can find the rest of our information there.
All right, y'all. This was an amazing episode. If you just are just tuning in, you have to go to the back because Mr. Armand was dropping jewels today. And we'll see you next time. You're listening to KGPC 96.9 FM Oakland, streaming online at www.kgpc.org. And this is the Anything Can Happen show. Peace out.
Peace.
That was dope.
Come on. The energy was there.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
energy was there.
Oh,
Wow.
Man, that
That
could have
was
went a whole
something
nother.
else.
Oh, yeah.
That could have went a whole
Man,
nother
anytime
2
you
hours.
guys
I
are
want your
back,
wife on here too because I
Yeah.
want to give her my book because I wrote
Please
a
do.
book for
No,
girls.
no.
Yeah.
And
That's
she
been
has-
all my work is with,
Let's
with
do it.
girls. Yeah.
Let's do it. So the next show, if you guys want us to go on, that would be
Ooh.
super dope. We
Yeah.
would love to talk to you
That
about
would
some
be
adult
so
stuff.
cool.
The relationship piece was dope. All of it was dope, and it all
Mhm.
set